Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you've just finished Alice in Borderland Season 3, your mind is probably spinning with questions. What was the true meaning of the Joker? Who was the Watchman? And what on earth does that ending in Los Angeles mean for the future? But before we dive into the deep-end theories, let's rewind and break down the incredibly intense final act. The entire season built towards the last game, a psychological and logistical nightmare called Possible Futures. This wasn't just a test of wits, it was a brutal examination of hope, regret, and the choices that define us. This game was a masterclass in manipulation. We saw players like Tetsu, haunted by drug addiction, lured to his death by a door showing him clean and reunited with his wife, a future he desperately wanted, but which cost him all his points. Similarly, the siblings Itsuki and Yuna were torn away from the group by a vision of Yuna's happy marriage, a future Itsuki felt obligated to secure, leading directly to his own death. The game proved that the most dangerous weapon in Borderland wasn't a laser, but hope itself. The climax came when the 8 survivors, Arisu, Usagi, Ryuji, and 4 others with Usagi's unborn child counting as the 8th player, reached the final exit. But there was one last roll of the dice. Arisu rolled a 7, meaning one person had to stay behind and die. Without a second thought, Arisu sacrificed himself. He forced a screaming, devastated Usagi through the exit, making Ryuji promise to get her and their child to safety. He waited for his death, but it never came. Instead, the game announced he was the winner. His selfless act was the ultimate victory condition, but his reward was a horrifying sight. On the screens, he saw the Borderland version of Shibuya collapsing into a catastrophic flood, with Usagi being swept away by the raging waters. The revelation, the Watchman, and the true Joker. This is where the finale stopped being a simple survival story and became a philosophical masterpiece. Arisu broke out of the game room, saved the other survivors, and dove into the flood to find Usagi. But his path was blocked by the season's apparent villain, Banda. Banda, a citizen of Borderland, made his final play. He offered Arisu a choice: become a citizen like him or die. Arisu, of course, refused. But before Banda could pull the trigger, a red laser from the sky struck him dead. A voice simply stated that his citizenship had been revoked, and from the mist emerged none other than Ken Watanabe, credited as the elderly gentleman or the Watchman. This was the moment the show redefined its entire mythology. The Watchman is not the Joker. He explains that he is merely a guardian, a watchman over the border between life and death. And the Joker? It's not a person. The Joker is a concept. It represents the passage between moments, the gap between things, the border itself. He then offered Arisu one final, seemingly rigged game. He presented 2 cards and said if Arisu drew the Joker, the Watchman would decide his fate. Arisu drew a card. It was a Joker. But then he realized both cards were Jokers. Instead of being a trick, this was the final test. The Watchman was impressed, stating that it was no coincidence Arisu had drawn the 2 cards that could seal his fate. Because of this, he gave Arisu the most profound choice of all: to choose his own destiny. He could choose the peaceful, painless void of death, or return to the painful, challenging, but meaningful world of the living. Arisu didn't hesitate. He chose life, Usagi, and their future child, declaring that without pain, there could also be no happiness. Back in the chaos, Arisu saved Usagi from the whirlpool leading to the land of the dead. In a final act of redemption, Ryuji, who had developed genuine feelings for Usagi and was burdened by guilt, let her go and chose to vanish into the vortex himself, finally reaching the afterlife he was so obsessed with studying. Usagi also got the closure she desperately sought, sharing a final peaceful goodbye with the vision of her father, who told her he had lived a happy life and only wanted the same for her. The theories, the true meaning, and what comes next. So, what does it all mean? Let's talk theories. Theory number 1. Borderland is a systematic purgatory. The ending solidifies that Borderland is a deliberate system, a liminal space for judging souls. The Watchman is a neutral administrator. The games aren't arbitrary torture, they are designed to test the core of human nature. As one analysis put it, the Borderland is a harsh judge enforcing a kind of golden rule. Your basic human dignity and willingness to sacrifice for others is what ultimately matters. Arisu didn't win the final game by being the smartest. He won by being the most selfless. Theory number 2. The coming global apocalypse. Back in the real world, we see a beautiful epilogue. Arisu and Usagi are happily expecting their child. We get wonderful cameos from all our favorite survivors from seasons 1 and 2, Chishiya, Kuina, Aguni, and even Naragi, all thriving and having turned over new leaves. But it's not all peaceful. Earthquakes begin to rock Tokyo, and news reports reveal this is part of a global phenomenon with tremors occurring along fault lines worldwide. This leads to the final shocking scene. The camera takes us to a cafe in Los Angeles. We zoom in on a waitress, and her name tag reads, Alice. This isn't just a cute reference. This is a massive hint that the catastrophic event the Watchman warned about is global. The Borderland games are about to begin again on an international scale. This sets up the potential for a spin-off series, much like Squid Game, that explores how these deadly games manifest in a different culture. Theory number 3. The Joker's wild card. The Joker's role as a concept opens a fascinating possibility. If it represents the border itself, then perhaps drawing the Joker card doesn't mean you lose. It means you are given a choice that transcends the game. It's the wild card that allows for a direct interface with the system's rules. Arisu drawing 2 Jokers wasn't a loss. It was the highest level achievement, granting him audience with the system's keeper and the right to choose his own path. In the end, Alice in Borderland Season 3 concluded with a powerful message that has been there all along. Life, with all its inherent pain and suffering, is worth living because of the love and connections we make. Arisu and Usagi chose a painful reality over a peaceful nothingness, and in doing so, they truly won the greatest game of all. But as the camera focused on that name tag in LA, one thing became clear. For a new Alice, the games are only just beginning. What do you think the American Borderland will look like? Let me know your wildest theories in the comments below. And if you want a full breakdown of every game in Season 3, let me know in the comments, and I'll make that video for you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.